Hi, it's me, Olivia Peck, and it's my 2023 book review top 10. Can you believe it? I can't. Fair warning, this is not just books that I read physically, it's also audiobooks. But I think you're going to want to stick around because some of these audiobooks, guys, very, very fun, very good. Okay? A little bit about me. I have this little online store called Books and Coffee where I sell books. I pick the books myself, I put them on the website, I send them to you. Very personal. Okay, support small business. That's all I have to say. I have a dog named Tony, and we are running this. All right, let's get started. Top 10. And again, a lot of these are audiobooks, including this one, The Dutch House. Hello. This book by Ann Patchett was a favorite of mine, not because it was a bit of a slow burn, okay? However, I love a book that spans across generations. It goes through a whole lifetime of this family. It's really about a brother and a sister who live in this giant house with their family, with their dad, and then he remarries and they end up losing the house and everything, and they start over from scratch. Their lifestyle totally changes. So Tom Hanks was the reader for this book, and that what made it enjoyable. I liked the way he read it. I thought it was also kind of funny, even when it wasn't supposed to be, just because it's Tom Hanks. I'm glad that I ended up listening to it again. One thing I will say is it is a bit of a slow burn. There's not like tons of twists or anything. It's a novel. You enjoy the ride, basically. So there's The Dutch House. Okay, moving right along to number 9, which I do have number 9 with me, and it will be for sale. I am going to rehome this one. Wrong Place, Wrong Time. So obviously this is one I read because this is my copy. It's by Gillian McAllister. I really like the concept of this book. There were, I will say up front, a few reviews that weren't super impressed with the whole how it ended up. Maybe they thought there was too many details. I really enjoyed it. And I like the concept. How do you stop a murder after it's already happened? This mom sees her son stab a man. It basically says that on the back, so I'm not really giving you any spoilers, but she has to uncover what exactly happened, because it's one of those things where she wakes up and the murder didn't happen yet. So she's like, first of all, am I losing my mind? Second of all, what's going on with my son? Yeah, I love time loopy type books, so that's why I liked it. Yeah, it is pretty detailed, so I will say that about it, but I enjoyed it. And it was one of the only thriller I think that made the list. It's one of those things where I like to read thrillers, but they don't always like stick with me where I'm like, wow, that was great. Oh no, there is another thriller, I think, on the list, but not very many. All right, next one is going to be kind of different because I really didn't hear about this book or anything. I just picked it up and it ended up being one of my favorites this year. It's Handle with Care by Jodi Picoult, and it's about a family, regular family, but they also have a daughter who, I'm going to butcher if I don't read it, osteogenesis imperfecta. And so her needs and the family dynamic, and this is told from the perspective mostly of the mom, I really liked how it handled the sensitive subject of a whole family where one of your kids is dealing with something like that. It really hit home for me based on my upbringing, and I felt seen, even though I did not grow up with a sibling who had osteogenesis imperfecta or anything like that. But in other ways, I think it's relatable when you have something serious like that in your family and you feel like you can't relate to other families. I think every family has something like that where it's isolating sometimes and you feel guilty. There's a lot of emotions that are complicated, and I can't remember the last time I read a book that was like this. So I just kind of had to put it on the list and shout it out for that. Okay, number 7 was another one I listened to, but honestly, you guys, this is what's funny about this book. I actually don't remember listening to it at all. I don't remember who the reader was. I'm sorry. I can't tell you if it was a particularly good reader. The only reason I know I did listen to it, this is so crazy, is because I ended up buying the book, started reading it, and I was like, wait a second, I read this. Which is crazy because I read another book that is also very similar, so it was confusing. Anyways, The Silent Patient, this one really, I feel like, is making the rounds for sure. It's a thriller. It's about this woman who she's at the scene of a very gruesome murder by her own hand. Her husband, she kills her husband, and she stops speaking after that. And they're trying to figure out what the heck happened, what's going on with her, and she's not speaking. And it's told from the view of the psychologist in the place that she's being kept, the not asylum, we don't call it that, but facility that she's in. And so that is what it's about. And whoa, I didn't expect the twists and turns it took. Maybe you would expect it, but I did not. And it was very dark. It was very dark, very spooky. Read it during October, all right? It's very spooky, or don't. Next one. Oh, yeah. Y'all, the next couple are going to be audiobooks. And I'm going to let you know that this one made it on the list, but I wouldn't have thought that from the very beginning. This one took a hot minute for me to get into it. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I did not realize that she also wrote The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery, I think is what it's called, which is also a movie. I found it to be completely different. I thought, anyways. It's about a couple of video game developers. Again, this is one of those where they follow them throughout their life and their best friends from childhood. Also, it gets complicated as they get older because it's a boy and a girl, if you know what I'm saying, and they're both hetero. So there's a little bit of tension there, which you can kind of see from the beginning. And I got even more into video games after that. I'm not a huge gamer, but my boyfriend is, and so it connected us even more. So I'm very grateful for this book because it got me even more jazzed about video games, and it made me feel good because it really acknowledged that there's all different kinds of games and there's a game for everyone. So I really like that about the book. And I will say the one thing that was kind of crazy about this book was there was a lot of things that happened that were like, what? Seriously? I don't know. So that would be the one downside, is there's like kind of some moments in there where you're just like, this is kind of a lot of events happening in one book. I'm not really sure how to say that without spoiling anything, so I'll stop there. Number 5 is Seth Rogan's book, and you're going to want to listen to this one, I would think. You know, I'm sure it's funny hearing it or reading it as well. I'm a Seth Rogan fan. I myself like to write. I wrote a comedy movie this past couple of years. I've been working on it and putting it together. So I really look up to him. And Pineapple Express was a huge inspiration for my movie, actually, because it's a buddy comedy. So when I saw that he had basically an autobiography memoir type thing, I was really excited. My favorite part of the book, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the reason why you should listen to it or read it is because of his Nick Cage story. Because I tried to find it online after the fact, and it's not as detailed, the online scrounging I did. So you're going to want to purchase this or get it from the library, because the Nicolas Cage story alone is just so funny. And there are also some just hilarious stories about his upbringing and movies he's worked on. So highly recommend. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was hilarious. A lot of details about drugs and marijuana as well. So just be aware. All right, number 4. We're getting higher on the list. This is getting serious. Okay, number 4 is what got me into a particular reader, and her name is Julia Whalen. If you don't know her, she is a pretty prominent reader. She does a lot of audiobooks, and this book, though, the author is Kristen Hanna. She's the author of The Nightingale. Now, I know that The Four Winds isn't the most popular Kristen Hanna book out there. It's been brought to my attention. However, I loved this book. It's about this woman who, I mean, it's mostly about the Dust Bowl in America, and I'm trying to remember the South. And I really don't remember much about the Dust Bowl, like from school. So this was a really great historical fiction novel about that time, and it took me to places I really did not expect. It has kind of a wild ending, and from the beginning, I would not have guessed where this book was going to go. Again, the beginning of this one is a little bit slow, so getting into it took a second. I really liked it. In fact, I actually started The Nightingale and didn't finish it, because I actually really liked The Four Winds, and I wanted something like that. It's totally different, and I know that's not a popular opinion. So just going to put that out there. Okay, number 3. This is the top 3, guys. Okay, number 3. Let me double check. All the Light We Cannot See. This is such a popular book. I'm sure this isn't surprising. Oh my gosh. I'm kind of nervous to watch the movie, even though I really like Hugh Laurie, and I was a big House fan, just because I really loved the book. So I'm kind of scared it's gonna tarnish it in any way. Even I don't know. You know how it is with book adaptations and stuff. So Laur, Marie Laure LeBlanc lives with her father in Paris near the Museum of Natural History, where he works. When she is 12, the Nazis occupy Paris, and her father and daughter flee to the walled citadel of Saint Malo, where Marie Laure's reclusive great uncle lives in a tall house by the sea. So, you know me, I love a great setting, not including obviously the time period it being during World War II, but just Paris and being by the sea in this great big old house and the Natural History Museum details. Gosh, it's just, this book is heartbreaking. It covers again a great time span, and it's romantic, not in the sense of like a love story, like romance, but the way that it's written, it's just very picturesque, and 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 heartbreaking, of course, because this is historical fiction and it's set during World War II. So, um, I can see why it was the winner of the Pulitzer Prize. All right, number 2 on the list. I almost put this at number 1, but I didn't. But on another day, I might have. All right. Ready Player One, another like classic, man, and another one where there's also a movie. It's by Ernest Cline, and it's set, get this, it's set in 2045. Yeah. So it was written in 2011, science fiction, um, follows protagonist Wade Watts on his search for an Easter egg in a worldwide virtual reality game, the discovery of which would lead him to inherit the game creator's fortune. It almost makes me get tears in my eyes. Oh my God, with that one. I just really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really fun. I actually did listen to the audiobook and I really liked the reader a lot. It is funny. It is, it makes you want to be part of that world, even though it's really grimy and rough. I love the main character, Wade, getting inside his head. Again, it made me appreciate video games even more, but also made me more freaked out about them and meta for sure. It's so weird. It's weird reading it and then seeing kind of where we're headed with virtual reality and stuff. Yeah, a lot of takeaways from that one regarding, yeah, just the future, but mostly it's just very enjoyable, very cute. I just love the way it's written. I watched the movie and there were some highlights from the movie, but it's very different from the book. And I have to say I like the book more, which it's Steven Spielberg, so I was kind of hoping that it would turn out a little bit differently. But Spielberg clearly took some liberties with it and kind of changed some things and made it more, I don't know. It was kind of heavy on the CGI. I don't know. I'm probably being too critical here because have I made a movie that like that and attempted anything like that? No. So I shouldn't be so rude about it, but it was a little bit CGI heavy for me. For me. Okay. All right, let's move on. I should have put the list in front of me, and I have not drank any of my wine because I'm a professional, but I poured it because it's my weekend. So, drum roll, please. The Book Thief. Another historical fiction. Guys, the writing alone. Oh my. How do I describe it? Y'all, I'm I feel weird that this is another World War II historical fiction, 1939 Nazi Germany. I think that's why I couldn't read The Nightingale also, because I already had read these two, this one and All the Light We Cannot See, and I'm like, all right, I can't do another one right now. It just made me feel weird. But this book is so phenomenal. Like, how do you're just gonna have to read it. This little girl, she's stealing books during a time when books are being burned. Um, yeah, these are dangerous times. Liesel's foster family hides a Jewish man in their basement. Liesel's world is both opened up and closed down. Superbly crafted writing that burns with intensity, award-winning author Marcus Zusick has given us one of the most enduring stories of our time. Truly. Oh, getting misty eyes here once again. You're just going to have to read it, guys. You're just going to have to read it. But what was the takeaway from this one? What was the big thing? There's so much loss. And that is a big part of this book is loss. And it doesn't make light of loss by any means, but I think in a way it kind of warms the hole in your heart that you might have from loss. So that is why I really appreciated this book. And I think it's a must read because we've all experienced loss, and this time in history, I mean, is just unfathomable to us now. And, you know, of course, there's crazy, horrible things going on in the world right now as well. And Marcus Zusick is just this little flame in the darkness with his writing. So really loved that book, and it's very notable for a reason. So, whoa, that was a heavy one. That was my top 10, everybody. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe if you want to see more on my books and things in my life ski, but it's mostly going to be books and movies and acting talk for me. So, from me, have a great night. Have a great day. Catch you later.